First off, you're gonna need some shrink wrap, okay? I'll just leave it right here. You're gonna need a solder gun. This is actually hot right now, and I always suggest a decent one, but you know, it really doesn't take much for this kind of thing. You're also gonna need some solder, obviously, and you're gonna want to get rosin core solder. I'm not exactly sure what mix is the optimal. Alright, today I'm actually just going to show you quickly how to take out and install the stereo in a Dodge Dakota, okay? I know it's bad quality now. I'm doing it at night. This is the only time I have time for it. The video quality will get better because I'll be doing most of the work in my garage. But, right now, I actually have a aftermarket stereo in. As you can see, it's a dual. It's not that great, nothing special. I'm actually I just need to replace the wiring harness on this. I did it a while ago, and I did it really crappy. But I'll show you how to take this out, and I'll show you how it would compare with having the stock unit and taking it out. There's really not much difference. Other than there's an extra wiring harness to take out, but really that's going to make zero difference when we tear it out. Alright, in this car it's actually very easy to take out. First thing you got to do is take off this dash here. It actually comes straight out. I'm actually holding the camera with one hand and doing this, and it actually snaps out. There's clips in here. You still want to be gentle with it because they do have to come out the right way. It's this piece that goes along here. See how I just snapped it out, okay? And right here, I think this is where the fog lights go. I don't have fog lights on this one. And you'll actually have to unplug a wire back here. I'll show you when we get to it. And also, I've noticed with the Dakota, you'll have to take in, if you have this type of lever system, I'm sure most of them do, for the transmission, you will have to take and put it in neutral or lower, or else it's very hard otherwise. So you will need your keys. Make sure you put on your parking brake too. And I'll go ahead and turn off my radio. You should probably actually unplug your battery wire first. Most people tell you to do that, but I've actually never had a problem. I've never been shocked. All we're doing is taking this off. And as you can see now that this is out of the way, so we can now take this off. And there's clips all around this thing, so. And I think we pretty much got it off. I'll just show you that there's a wire right here that plugs in. And it's very easy to take out the clips. See, I just did that with one finger. That's how easy it is. So. And then basically this whole dash piece comes right out. Let me make sure it's completely unclipped. It can be a pain in the butt even after you put this thing, you know, in neutral or drive to get this off. And as soon as you get it off, go ahead and put your car back in park and turn it off, because you actually cannot take the keys out unless it's in park. That's a little homo if you ask me. Next thing you got to do is, of course, you'll want to get a bracket or a faceplate like these. You can get them for like 10 or 15 bucks at Walmart. You don't, of course, technically you do not have to use one of these, but it's going to look extremely ugly. One of these things, or if you have a double din unit, you don't have to get one. Like your stock unit will be a double din in this car, or a Jeep or a Chrysler. Around this year, it will be. And basically, you've got two screws. You've got one here, and you got one there, and you're going to need a ratchet, or a ratchet's definitely going to be the best way to go. The other thing is, I know it looks blurry. This thing's actually just reflecting the light because of its color. As you can see, I'll aim the camera a little bit differently. But with the stock unit, it's just going to basically be this entire thing. It's going to come out the exact same way. You're going to take out these two screws, except the stock unit is doubled in. It's just going to all come out. The only difference is that this is in a bracket, okay? Either way, this still has to come out. Okay, I found the ratchet size. You need a 10mm for this, okay? And basically, let me just take this off. Very easy to do. I usually just get it loose, and then you can, I guess it won't come out just yet with my hand. problem is I can't use my extender on this because I have one of the newer style ratchets, and it's it's one of the Cobalt ones. It's so you can accommodate large screws. It's got the big hole in the middle of it, but it comes with a special adapter piece because somebody lost my 10 millimeter that actually came with the kit, and now I have to use an old style 10 millimeter. And I have to use the adapter, and with the adapter I can't use the extender. Go figure. So we got these screws out. Next step is you can actually just take this out, and I might have to put the camera down. You might not be able to see this, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to get back to the wiring harness. So I don't think I'm going to be able to hold it for the camera for this. I found a way to go ahead and prop my camera up here, so I'll do the best I can to show you here. You just pull this out, and actually you'll probably want to just, if it's not in there securely, like mine's not for some reason, you'll try to just slide it off, and you want to get back to the wiring harness, and the easiest way is just to unplug the head unit first. So you want to unplug the wiring harness in the back of the head unit here, if I can get it off. If it'll come off. There's also the antenna cable. Go ahead and unplug your antenna. Unplug that. And on this I also have it came with a thing called the iDock or something, or thing. It's so you can plug in an auxiliary MP3 player. I went ahead and unplugged that, and all I've got left is the wiring harness here. Oh, and there it goes. And you can go ahead and set this aside. And if you're going to put a new head unit in here, obviously, that you'd go ahead and put that away. Now, I'm sure you can see all the wires in here. It's an absolute mess. Okay. Now, you're going to want to save, like for instance, I'm using the same head unit. So you want to save this head unit adapter. You want to save the head unit wiring harness, because those are hard to find and they're a little more expensive as well. So you want to unplug it from where the car, from basically what comes from the car. On these, the wiring harness actually has a latch on the top, and then you squeeze the sides once you get the latch over the little hook, and it comes right off. You might actually need a small screwdriver for it. Alright, so I got the wiring harness off from the car, and it should look something like this. As you can tell, I either did it with electrical tape or crimps. And these are the ones that come from the car. Be careful with the ones that are left in your car, alright? I'm going to have to take a look at these. I did have one stereo installed by someone, and it looks like they actually put crimps on these. I have no idea why. We'll have to take a look at those. This is your antenna cord, just so you know. Alright? And these, the white and the gray cables, the two big ones right here, those are the ones that go to your car, and then this one, the smaller gray one, goes to your head unit. And definitely make sure you do not lose that one, okay? And that one also goes to my head unit. That's part of the thing. So, anyways, we'll get busy on fixing this. Okay, now if you are in a situation like this where you either have an aftermarket stereo already in there, or where you would just want to do the wiring, redo the wiring harness, or you're changing something or whatever, what you're going to want to do is you're obviously going to want to get rid of the wires you have, or get a new wiring harness. And I am getting a new wiring harness for many good reasons, and you will see, because I'm going to show you how to rig up one of these wiring harnesses the right way. As you can see, before I've either crimped them, or I have twisted the wires together and just used electrical tape. It's not the poorest way to do it, but I definitely don't suggest doing it. While I'm on the subject, let me talk about crimps for a second, alright? Unfortunately, I don't think I have the other one, but basically, this is what a lot of people use. I think they're really called butt connectors. And although these do work, I'm definitely not impressed with them. I've definitely seen a good amount of reduction in actual conductivity, I guess would be the proper way to say it, using them like this. If you're going to use any kind of crimps, use the bell crimps. This one I don't actually have one, but they kind of look like an upside down bell. Kind of looks like that. I mean, I know this is a wing nut that I have here, but this is just what I have to kind of illustrate it. It almost looks like a bell, and your wires will actually go into it, and they'll kind of look like this. It'll look goofier in your car, and it'll take up more room, but as you can see, the wires will actually be touching each other inside the crimp, not to mention in the crimp itself, it'll be working well. And the other thing is, with crimps, especially with these, you cannot reuse them. This metal is kind of brittle, and once you crimp them down, a lot of times the metal in there actually cracks and breaks. So, and as you can see, this one's actually freely spinning around the wire. That's horrible, and that right there, that destroys your connection. So I'm going to show you how to do it the right way. And first off, what I need to do is, because I don't feel like buying a new harness that actually goes to my head unit, especially because it's not even that great of a head unit, I'm going to disconnect these wires. Now, if you're getting a new head unit altogether, or if you're going to get a new harness for your head unit, you can throw this out. You can just throw it out, because you're going to need a new one of these anyways. You just get it for the right make of your vehicle. They sell these at Walmart. It's like $10. Don't get them at Best Buy. It's the same exact thing, except I think it's like $20 last time I looked. It's seriously twice the price for nothing. Of course, Best Buy is the worst place to get anything. Do not ever go to Best Buy for anything, and I'm not joking. Don't get me started on that. That's a separate issue. So we're not going to use crimps. We're not going to use any other kind of ghetto method. And so I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you're probably going to have a new head unit, so this is probably going to be a non-issue for you, but you will still need this right here. So make sure you get the right one for your vehicle. It's very easy to do on the back. It's got what vehicles it's for. Alright, so let me get this apart. It's self-explanatory if you're in this situation, and we'll be back when it's time to start doing work. Continuing with this installation, actually, luckily for you guys, I found I don't think it's the stock unit to the one, but it's it's either to this truck, or it's to a Jeep that's like a model year. It's like the same model year newer. So, and as you can see, it's actually about twice as wide, this way, as the head unit that I had in there. And this is called doubled in. And as you can see, the screws on that bracket that held that little face bracket that held the head unit in and made it look all neat, see, it's in the exact same spots. So if you are doing this, it's the same way. The only difference is if you're taking out the stock one, you're not going to have this bracket already, or you're not going to have these harnesses, a harness like this already in there. What this plugs into, it actually plugs directly into the back, and that's where it comes from the car. So you're not going to have these harnesses or anything like that. Also, something that I found interesting, I just took these off. These are the old ones. This is what I just took off, and this is one I just bought, and as you can see, it's actually got an extra piece on here. That's interesting. That, I guess, helps keep the wires shorter. As you can see, that's a little bit of a mess, and it looks, even though this is quite a mess, it makes it look a lot cleaner. This little piece right here, it looks like it holds some of the wire length in there, and you can remove it if need be. And again, if I did not make this clear already, if you're in a situation where you're either using the same wire harness or whatever, you're always going to want to treat your head unit wiring harness better. They are harder to find, and they are more expensive. I think I looked online, and this wire harness for this cheap dual was, at least the cheapest one I found was $20. And plus that's not even including shipping, where I can find this at Walmart for $10. So you're definitely going to want to treat this head unit, or this harness, as nicely as you can. Okay. Now the way I'm going to show you how to connect these is going to be the proper way. It's going to be more permanent, so you're not going to have to worry about doing this again. If you get a new head unit, it will come with this wire. Okay, it will come with this wire, and if it doesn't, then you're going to have a problem, and you need to bring it back to wherever you got it from. So with that being said, I should have done this earlier, but here's what you're going to need. First off, you're going to need some shrink wrap, okay? I'll just leave it right here. You're going to need a solder gun. This is actually hot right now. And I always suggest a decent one, but you know, it really doesn't take much for this kind of thing. You're also going to need some solder, obviously, and you're going to want to get rosin core solder. I'm not exactly sure what mix is the optimal. I just know you're going to want rosin core, and you're also going to want some kind of flux. I'm actually probably not going to use any on this because all I have is acid flux, and acid flux can it can actually, I've heard it can actually rot out wires. So if you get like a rosin flux, it'll be awesome. It actually makes it easier to use solder. It lets the solder transfer from your iron, or it just makes it easier to transfer onto wires. So, all right, let me get this all set up, and we'll continue.